Everyone tells you bear market is when DeFi loses money. But here is what they don't tell you. In the first week of February, a single crash event that happened during that time generated about $429 million in liquidation on Aave alone. And every one of those liquidations handed out between 5 to 10% of bonus to all the bots, all the people that executed these liquidations. So while leverage traders were getting wiped out, when they were losing money and the market was going down, liquidation bots were printing profits. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly how that bonus works and how you can be the one collecting these payouts even though the market is falling and others will be the one paying it. If you're new around here, my name is Abalaji and I welcome you to Syncedge Solutions. Here we explore the opportunities on blockchains and we also code DeFi bots to exploit these opportunities. Today, we'll be learning how to earn liquidating bad loans on lending and borrowing protocols like Aave, Compound, and other similar protocols. Here is the overview of what we are going to be discussing today. Let me just zoom out so that you see. Here is it. It's basically a liquidation bot running on Aave, and it simply helps Aave to get rid of bad loans. And because you are helping out Aave, you get rewarded, you get paid between 5 to 10% of the loan you are liquidating. So if you have liquidated $10,000 worth of loan, you'll be paid around $500 to $1,000. And if you have liquidated $100,000 worth of loan, you'll be paid between $5,000 to $10,000. So that's how you earn money in this case. And the good thing is you don't even need to use your money to liquidate these bad loans. You can simply take a flash loan to do it. And that's what we are going to be going through today. By the way, we now have Telegram group through which you can talk to us directly. Just come to our website here, syncedgesolutions.xyz. Then click pivot. Here you would have to deploy your own pivot bots before you see this UI. Of course, it costs nothing except gas fees to deploy your own pivot bots. Gas fees on base mainnet is about 1 to 2 cents. So on the dashboard, you can click this button, join operators Telegram, then you can talk to us directly. You can also give us feedback, ask for help, and you'd also meet like-minded people too. Just don't forget to be polite. You can see on my dashboard my open position. With pivot bots, you'll be able to earn yield on your leverage open position. Let me zoom in back. Now, if you're not familiar with Aave is basically a lending and borrowing protocol based on the blockchain. It's on base mainnet, Ethereum, and many other blockchains. So what it does, Aave simply allows you to deposit your crypto assets, and in return, you'll be earning APY, you'll be earning yield on your assets. Then it also allows you to use that your deposits as collateral, then you borrow against it. So a good example is you can deposit Bitcoin and borrow USDC against it, as long as your loan is not bigger than your collateral. So what that means is your loan must always be over collateralized. This is a smart contract. This is a decentralized application on the blockchain. It doesn't listen to human. It follows the law, the code written, the instructions on the code written. So if your loan exceeds a particular threshold, your loan becomes bad and it gets liquidated. There are some terminologies we need to quickly go over before we go into this diagram. Before we go further, please don't forget that nothing in this video makes it a financial advice. It is for education and entertainment only. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, especially for the fact that I'll be making series of videos on this topic, so you don't want to miss it. In my subsequent videos, we'll be coding liquidation bots together. And to be honest with you, the liquidation bot space is quite competitive. The faster your bot, the higher the probability of you being profitable in this. And that's why I'm going to introduce a tech that will make your liquidation bot as fast as possible. You don't want to miss that. So please subscribe. And I promise you, you'll be glad you did. If you're not familiar with Aave, it is simply a decentralized lending and borrowing protocol on the blockchain. It is decentralized because it is governed by smart contracts living on the blockchain. So all you need to do is just to come to app.aave.com and you'll be able to access it through this UI. And you just need to connect your wallet and you see this. So here you can see the list of assets you can supply. This is base blockchain. It's also available in on Ethereum and other blockchains too. So you can see the assets you can supply as collateral, and you can see the APY you'll be earning your yield. And these are the assets you can borrow against your collateral, and these are the interest you are going to be paying. All right. So as I said earlier, you'll be able to supply assets as your collateral and yield, then borrow against it. What I want you to pay attention to is this wrapped Ethereum. So I'm going to click it now, and I want you to see some terminologies. All right. So yeah, you can see the loan to value, the maximum loan to value. Now, to explain what that means, you need to understand something about loans and lending and borrowing protocol on the blockchain. A major invariant, in fact, the most important invariant for them is that at every point in time, your loan, your position must be over collateralized. What that means is that the value of your collateral must be higher than your loan. If at any point your position becomes under collateralized, you'll be liquidated. So I'm going to break that down. So LTV talks about your loan to value ratio. So, and this value, 80%, is different from all the assets. So this is for wrapped Ethereum, and this means that you can borrow up to 80% of your collateral. So if your collateral is about $1,000 in wrapped Ethereum, you'll be able to borrow about $800 against it. Liquidation threshold. Now, for wrapped Ethereum is 83%. What this means is that this basically tells you the ratio of your collateral to your loan. Now, it must never drop below 83%. If it drops below 83%, your position will be liquidated. So that is the threshold here. And liquidation penalty is what we are interested in. This is the bonus we are going to get if we liquidate an under collateralized position. So it's always between 5 to 10%. So 5% of of the collateral of the user will be taken and be given to the liquidator, our bot in this case. All right, so let's jump back to the whiteboard and consider our hypothetical case. So we have a user here. All right, let's say we have a user at time zero when wrapped Ethereum, the price of wrapped Ethereum is 3,000 US dollars, and USDC maintains its peg, which is $1. So let's say the user decides to supply one wrapped Ethereum to Aave as its collateral and immediately borrows 2000 USDC against his collateral, against his capital. So let's look at his position after that. Now, his collateral, as I said, is 30,000 US dollars, is $3,000, which is equivalent to wrapped Ethereum, one wrapped Ethereum. His debt is $2,000, which is equivalent to 2000 USDC. Now, this is how the health factor is calculated. It will be the collateral, $3,000, multiplied by the liquidation threshold, it's a 3%. Then you divide it by the debt, $2,000. So if the number you get is above 1, then the position is safe. It is over collateralized. In this case, we are getting 1.245, which is far higher than 1. So this position is quite safe. All right. So now I need you to pay attention to the things that would affect the health factor of this position. Now, if the collateral price falls, the health factor will go down. And don't forget that the threshold is 1. It has to be above 1. Now, if the borrowed asset price rises against the collateral price, of course, the health factor too will go down. If the collateral LT, that's the liquidation threshold, decreases. Now, this collateral threshold is it's controlled by the protocol itself, by Aave protocol. All right. So by the governance, when they vote and they change the value of the LT, of course, it will affect the position of the user. All right. Now, the user just needs to pay attention to all of this. If the collateral price increases or if it rises, the health factor goes up, which is what the user would want. And the user too, if he decides to repay his debt, of course, this denominator will go down and health factor will go up. If the user decides to add more collateral, that means this value goes up. Of course, the health factor will go up. And if the borrow price falls, that means this price falls, then of course the health factor too will rise. But so if you pay attention to all of these now, you realize that price is quite important in this. So that's why protocols like this use um, Oracle, like Chainlink, like Pith to get the price of their assets. Because if the price is not right, all of this falls apart. All right. And you must have heard of many exploit that happens on the blockchain because of price. All right. So, but that's not the topic of this video. So let's focus. So let's say after 6 months, after 180 days, wrapped Ethereum price has changed from 3,000 US dollars. It's now 2,400. USDC still maintains its peg at 1. Now you can see the agents tab here that we didn't have before. And what we have here, before you be able to see all of this, you must have deployed your own agent vaults. So what does this do? It helps you to watch over your health factor. It watches over your position for you. And if it drops, if your health factor drops below a position you have configured, and that you must have configured it over here. I'm using 1.25 for my own. So if it drops below 1.25, it's going to automatically close my position for me. All right. So the agent vaults, this is it's a subscription based and it's fully on chain. Besides guarding your position, it also helps you to deploy different strategy based on your sentiment of the market. So a good example is that if you come to this strategy intent panel here, you can tell you can see whether you are delta neutral or you are bullish on the market or you think the market will go down, which is delta short. So now I'm feeling bearish. I want to short the market. So if I click here now and I say my target APY, because that's one of the good things about about pivot bots. Instead of paying funding rates on other trading platform with pivot bots, you'll be earning yield on your open position, as you saw earlier. So let's say my target is maybe 50%. All right. Delta shots. Let's say my risk tolerance is moderate, and I click analyze. So you can see the strategy is giving me. So I can supply USDC and borrow VF against it. And I use about 3.5x leverage and 15.8 APY. I'll get up to 15.8% APY. All right. So at this point, so the top three strategy I can deploy is going to give me there's 15.7 if I supply USDC and R Ethereum, which is Rocket Pool Ethereum. The same thing for here. At any point, I can also click execute strategy here, state the amount of Ethereum I'm willing to commit, amount of worth. All right. Then I click execute. If I click execute now, my MetaMask will pop up and the transaction will be executed for me. All right. So that's one of the things this agent mode does for you. Now let's check the health factor. The collateral before, of course, the collateral still remains one wrapped Ethereum, but the price has changed to $2,400. The debt still remains $2,000 or 2,000 USDC. So our health factor would now be calculated as $2,400 multiplied by the LT, which is 83%, divided by $2,000. When you do that, you're going to get 0.996, which is less than 1. So this position will be deemed as unsafe and it will be under collateralized. So because of that, because it is under collateralized, immediately it will be liquidated. So we have bots, or even if you're, I mean, you're superhuman and you can monitor these in real time. You just need to call these the necessary function, and you liquidate this position. So as a liquidator, which we are, this is where we come in. So your job as a liquidator is to pay the debt, which is 2000 USDC. So the liquidator pays 2000 USDC to Aave to pay up this debt. And for doing that, Aave pays takes from the collateral of the user. It takes $2,000 equivalent of it, then an additional 5%, which is the bonus. So this is 1.05. So that's so we need to convert it to wrapped Ethereum because our collateral is in wrapped Ethereum. So that becomes 2000 multiplied by 1.05 divided by 2400, which is the price. And we are going to get 0.875 wrapped Ethereum. So this 0.875 wrapped Ethereum will be taken from one wrapped Ethereum, the collateral of the user, and will be given to the liquidator. So, of course, you can decide to do anything you like with your money. Now, if you convert 0.875 wrapped Ethereum to worth, I mean to USDC, so that would be, you just multiply it by 2400, the current price of wrapped Ethereum, and it will be 2100. And that means that from your capital, the amount you give the protocol is $2,000, and you're getting back 2100. So your profit is $100, which is actually 5% of the loan you liquidated. All right. Now let's now come back to what happened to the position after liquidation. After liquidation, the collateral will drop from 1 wrapped Ethereum to 0.125 wrapped Ethereum. So if you multiply that by the current price of wrapped Ethereum, which is 2400, it's going to be just $300. So this 0.875 has been taken from the collateral of the user. Now, and his debt is now zero. It's now 0 USDC. All right. Now, let's come back here. Now, the good thing about this is that as liquidator, this 2000 USDC does not necessarily have to be your money. You don't need to have that money. You can easily come to a protocol like Balancer and take a flash loan, 2000 USDC, use it to liquidate. When you get back your money, you pay Balancer back the 2000 USDC you collect as flash loan. Flash loan are normal loans, but you have to pay them back within the same block. So within 2 seconds, you have to pay back what you have borrowed. Please don't forget to check out our website where you can explore our other services. Just go to syncedgesolutions.xyz. If you click bots tab here, it will take you to the page where our other bots are listed. For example, we have AI enhanced deck snipping bots V3, and this when you click details, you'll be able to see the video demo of this snipping bot. What it does for you is to watch Uniswap V3 and Aerodrome V2 pool for new tokens launch, and when new tokens are launched, it runs 10-point safety check on them to be sure that they are not honeypot tokens, they are not scam tokens. Before, it also uses AI to gauge the sentiment on Twitter before picking these tokens up. So when it buys the tokens based on your configured stop loss level and take profit levels, it will manage your position for you. You can configure as many take profit levels as you want, and yeah, it does that for you. One thing you know about this channel, I don't just talk about the opportunities in the space. We write code together, we develop bots to exploit these opportunities. So in my subsequent videos, we'll be writing code to exploit this liquidation opportunity. So please like, share, subscribe, and pin the notification bell so that you get notified of my subsequent videos. Thank you, and I'll see you on the next one.